my gosh, that's so hot. It's not ready to drink yet.
Hi, sweet girl. Hi. Oh, is that nice?
Hi everyone, my name is Arielle and welcome back to my channel. It has been a little while since I posted a video, but I have some really exciting news. So I kind of just want to jump into it and pick up as if I never left. So I hope that's okay. You probably guessed it by the title of this video, but this is my official PCT 2022 thru hike announcement. I am so excited that I finally get a rebate on this adventure. If you've been following me for a little while, then you probably know I was supposed to go in 2020, had permits, had everything organized, was like nearly ready to go. And then, you know, we all know what happened in 2020. So I thought maybe 2021 would be the year, and then I had some health issues. But this year I'm feeling really, really good, and I have my permit locked in. I actually got like my dream date back at the original like November permit drop, which is super exciting. I kind of just feel like things are falling into place even more smoothly than last time, and it makes me just really excited to get out there. And I thought the best way to kick off this announcement and just to jump back into making videos for you guys would be to do a little Q&A about my thru hike. So a little while ago, it's actually been probably like a month and a half since I did this, I posted in my stories on Instagram any questions that you might have about my PCT thru hike, and I thought I would just take the next couple of minutes to answer your questions, and yeah, let's jump in. So let's start with the basics. What is the PCT? The PCT is the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a hiking trail that goes from the Mexico-California border all the way to the Washington and Canada border. It's 2,650 miles, and it takes people, you know, roughly anywhere from 4 to 6 months to hike, with the average, I'd say, being between like 5 and 6 if you're doing it as one continuous segment, which is my goal, my plan, my hope. Obviously, I am not in control of weather. I'm not in control of fires. There's a lot of things I'm not in control over. So I am going out there, you know, hoping for the best, but really being comfortable with being flexible for whatever comes my way. So hopefully by end of September of 2022, I will have walked all the way from Mexico to Canada. Another common question was, am I going alone? And the answer is sort of. I mean, my husband is going to start the first 100 miles with me, which is really exciting, but it's not a dream of his to do the whole thing. So after that, he's going to jump off the trail, and he's really just going to play support for me, helping send me my food, and maybe meeting up with me a couple other stops along the way. I still say sort of, even though that means I'm kind of alone from there on out. I feel like one of my hopes and aspirations for this adventure is to meet new people and to make friends. And I have already started connecting with some really amazing people who are also setting out to thru hike the PCT this year. So I'm excited. I hope that, like, obviously I want to get some good like alone time in the wilderness, but I also really want to make connections and meet new people. And so that is something I'm looking forward to. So I guess you can say technically I'm going alone, but I don't foresee myself like truly being super alone out there. My hope is really to like build community and make friends and yeah, just have a good time. Of course, the question came up of, am I going to document? Am I going to vlog it? And absolutely yes. I am super excited to document this journey. I actually really like vlogging adventures like this. One, because I love to share it with you guys, but also from a completely like personal, selfish level, I love to go back and watch them myself. I have gone back and watched my Tahoe Rim Trail videos before, and it's cool how many memories it brings up when you get to like see it visually and, you know, hear what you're talking about. And there's things that are not shown on the screen that I remember only because I see the video. So I really, really enjoy the process of vlogging, and I love that I get to continue to relive these experiences. So absolutely 100% yes, we'll be vlogging this adventure. And actually, I feel really fortunate but my husband has agreed to do the editing of these vlogs. Normally I edit all my vlogs. Obviously I've gotten better than when I first started, but he's probably better better than I am anyways. And that way I can release the vlogs almost live. You know, obviously it'll be a little bit delay for me to get the content over to him and then for him to edit it. But I really wanted you guys to like be able to come along on the journey with me. So I pitched the idea to him and he gave me a big thumbs up. So that is super exciting. One logistical thing that I'm still kind of figuring out is how to get content from to send it to him so that he can edit it. So if you have any suggestions about how we might do that, please put it in the comments below. I'm thinking some sort of like cloud type thing where I upload into a cloud, but I do know that, you know, service and good quality Wi-Fi can be a little limited and these are going to be big video files. So I don't know. Let me know if you have any thoughts in the comments below, but either way, we will figure it out. And I am super excited to take you guys along for the journey. So of course, there were a lot of questions about gear and food, and I really want to take more time to answer those. So I'm going to make some dedicated videos to gear and food specifically for the PCT. That way, if there's any of you who are thinking about maybe setting out to thru hike yourself, I can like really walk you through the process because it can be kind of a big undertaking, especially for me, the food aspect. I was diagnosed with 2 different autoimmune conditions like 5 years ago. And one of the biggest changes I had to make to my lifestyle was going gluten-free, which is not actually very hard at all in my regular life, but a lot of the towns that you pass through have limited selections, like smaller grocery stores where they don't necessarily have like, you know, the wide selection of gluten-free options, which makes it a little bit harder to resupply along the trail than if you could just eat anything. So I'm kind of undertaking a bigger resupply challenge than maybe I would if I didn't have that caveat. I don't mind it. It's actually pretty fun for me, but I've been in the process of ordering a bunch of different stuff so that I can build. Most of my food is going to be sent to me in resupply boxes. Actually, I'm just going to show you over here. Excuse, my house is kind of messy. All of these boxes over here is like food. So this is like the beginning stages of me getting all the boxes together. I started with ordering stuff that's probably not going to be everything I need, but I could start building boxes from that. And then I can, you know, decide whatever else I need and make some final orders before getting everything ready to go. There were quite a few of you who wanted to know how you even begin to plan for a 5 to 6 month adventure. And I think that's a really valid question. My best answer is one step at a time. So obviously, you know, for me, I had to think of the logistics of work and taking time off of work. And I had to think of the logistics of school. I am in the middle of, well, I'm like 2/3 of the way done with my master's program. So I'm going to have to take a 6-month leave of absence, which if I'm being like fully transparent, I really need. I haven't taken a break. I started school 2 years ago and I haven't taken a break. I've just been going straight through and I'm feeling a little burnt out. So I am excited for my 6-month leave of absence so that I can finish my last 1/3 of school with like a little more pizzazz and excitement. So I had to think about those type of logistics. I'm 31. If I would have done the PCT in my early 20s, I probably would have just sold all of my belongings that I didn't need, or got a very small storage unit, or I mean, there's times in my younger 20s where I like literally used a small corner of my grandma's garage, and moved out of my apartments and just like, you know, didn't have really any overhead. That's not the reality for my life anymore. I have a mortgage and, you know, insurances and things that I can't just drop in the way that I could have. So that was some logistical things that I had to work out, that I would say, you know, depending on what age you are or what like chapter of your life, you might have more or less of those things that you have to consider. And then the biggest thing I think was just getting organized, you know, creating a spreadsheet, figuring out, you know, my resupply plan and figuring out exactly what gear I needed. And I've spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos from other people who've done this adventure, but also reading a lot of books. I love reading people's stories from the trail. That's been one of my biggest inspirations. And you learn a lot about the gear people like and didn't like, or what works and didn't work from their stories, because usually the things that make the most interesting stories are like the mishaps or the challenges. So I found that that is a really helpful thing as well. It's just, you know, really allowing yourself to consume as much information as you can handle about whatever adventure you're taking on. So for me specifically, the Pacific Crest Trail. But yeah, it can feel pretty intimidating. So again, like the best advice I can give is one step at a time. My dog Tabor has abandoned me for a colder spot on the floor over there. But there were quite a few of you who want to know if she was coming. She is not going to come along. I did bring her for the start of the Tahoe Rim Trail, and I love having her out there. We've brought her on many backpacking trips. She's done a lot of like big mileage days with me, but it just feels like a little bit too much to ask a dog to do. And I think one of the biggest things is like you don't have the ability to tell them like, this is our last water source for 30 miles, so be mindful, or, you know, we're going to be doing a 25-mile day, so conserve your energy. You know, they're just fully in the moment. And so us as humans, we can, you know, like mentally and physically prepare ourselves a little bit for the day ahead, and our dogs don't necessarily have the ability. So yeah, we've decided, as much as I would love to have her out there, that it's going to be best to not have her along. And like I said, since my husband is not hiking the majority of it with me, she'll just be here at home with him. So she will be happy and enjoying her super adventurous Colorado mountain lifestyle. So one of the questions was, have you thru-hiked before, and why the PCT? So the only thru-hike I've done is the Tahoe Rim Trail, which is much shorter. It's like 170 miles. I did that in 2020, kind of, I don't want to say like instead of the PCT, but like once that plan got scrapped, the idea of the Tahoe Rim Trail got brought up from a friend, and yeah, it was a cool adventure to go out on. So this will be like by far my biggest undertaking. I've done a lot of like backpacking travel, if that makes sense. So not like actually hiking backpacking, but I've spent months overseas multiple times by myself. I've lived in different countries and traveled around. So I do like have some experience in that regard, but not specifically like thru-hiking or backpacking for 5 months. So it's definitely going to be a big undertaking. And why the PCT? I've kind of answered this before on here, and I feel like it's a somewhat unsatisfying answer. So I'm going to add a little piece to it. But I first heard of the PCT when I was 20 years old. I am from Colorado, but I went to college in Lake Tahoe. And I had a boyfriend at the time, my college boyfriend, who him and his dad had just done the John Muir Trail, and he was super fired up about the idea of this thing called the Pacific Crest Trail. And when he shared it with me, I kind of just had this feeling like that's something I'm meant to do. And that's why I say it's like kind of an unsatisfying answer, because it was just like this knowing. I just felt like really connected to this concept, and I had plans of doing it within the next, you know, couple of years after college. You know, life does what it does, but I kind of just set this goal for myself to do it before I was 30. And 2020, I would have been 29 when I had the original permit to go out. Like, you don't have to, like, when I say I wanted to do it before I was 30, it's not because I thought that 30 is too old or that I would be more capable in my 20s. If anything, I feel more capable now. But like, the older you get, the more things pile up that get in your way from being gone. Especially in my early 20s, I thought that maybe by now I would have a family and all these things. And I mean, I do have a family. I have my husband and my dog and my cat, but you know what I mean though. And once you have kids, you know, there's just more things that make it a little bit harder to go away for 5 or 6 months. And for me, it was just like that reminder to not let my dreams pass me by. So, yeah, I know. Like I said, kind of unsatisfying. However, this time around, I feel like there's an added layer. It's been something that's obviously been building up, this idea for me to get out there. And I think after the last couple of years and all the things that, you know, we've all been through, I've definitely been dealing with like more loneliness than I normally feel. And so I'm really excited to get out and reconnect with people in nature. I feel like some pieces of my life have kind of like picked up pace and momentum and have kind of just got onto autopilot. And so I'm really looking to an opportunity to kind of just reset and wipe the slate clean and just kind of get clear on what I want for this next chapter of my life and what I want to start to create. Because sometimes I feel like the life just kind of pushes and pulls you in different directions. And I would like to be as intentional as possible with my life and the choices I make. So yeah, that's the added layer this time around, is I really want to like have that feeling of connection with myself and nature and other people again, and find a little bit more clarity about my next chapter. All right, my friends, besides the specifics on gear and food, which like I said, I will cover in future videos as we get a little bit closer, and a couple of rogue wedding proposal questions. I think that's it for now. That covers most of the most asked questions on there. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm super excited to be back here on YouTube. I am 100% fully planning on jumping back into my regular posting calendar now. So over the next couple of weeks, I have some really fun adventures planned, and I'm going to weave vlogs from those adventures in with the PCT planning stuff. One of the biggest ones coming up, which I'm so excited for, is a trip to Argentina to go hiking in Patagonia, which has been on my bucket list for a long time. And I really can't think of like a better way to do some PCT training than hiking in like summer in Patagonia. So I'll bring you guys along for that. And like I said, we'll cover the other topics, but if there's anything specific that you want to make sure I cover in future videos about the PCT, really, or anything else that I brought up in this video, just leave me a comment below, and I will try to make sure that before I set out on the trail, I have covered every topic that you guys want to hear about, and then we can just really jump into the adventure together. Thanks for being here. It's so great to, have this YouTube family. I'm so excited to be back, and I will see you next week.